and we're going to go to Sidney Powell's Twitter feed here. And I skimmed through it, but I'm going to go through it with you about Dominion. Jess is an investigator, independent investigator that Sidney Powell's been retweeting, and it's bombshell information. Okay, so we will bring that. We'll bring that to you as well. A
digital soldier.
Now, this morning's show, what I presented to everybody just think about this, okay? Mm-hmm. The clock is ticking towards certification. They're going to be rushing towards that. They're going to finagle. There's going to be these court cases. They got the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to say, well, we can't hold up the election. You got circumstantial evidence and blah, 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 blah. It literally takes years to develop the evidence that this small, group of okey-dokes, civil attorneys and private people, in the Trump campaign, they're in the private sector, taking on the greatest crime in the history of the United States. Mm-hmm. We have government intervention now. So I said it this morning, and I think Deb agrees with me based on how I presented it, is that if the government has seized the server, if the FBI is doing a proper investigation, which they are, I mean, you know what they're going to find. I mean, seriously, you could be corrupt and not be able to cover that stuff up, or hopefully they've got mechanisms so that they don't cover it up. Mm-hmm. But AG Barr, in my opinion, will determine who the next president is going to be. Because if he does not intervene and say, stop the bus, because he could literally, if Sidney Powell files a lawsuit and she says, I think, and I got a witness, and I think that this was what they were doing. And they were offshoring all of our voter data. And AG Barr can come in and say, as the U.S. government, we'd like to intervene. It's more than circumstantial evidence. We've seized the server, and we can corroborate a lot of what she's saying. That's going to shore up a case for the Supreme Court to say, this election's over. It's done. I mean, even if Georgia certifies their election, which they haven't, by the way, they keep going back and forth and waffling on that. Mm-hmm. Even states that decide to just hurry up and certify, Georgia's machines, all their machines are Dominion. How can you certify a fraudulent election with Dominion machines? You just can't do it.
Pennsylvania's not doing it.
AG Barr will be able to intervene with the case that Sidney Powell's going to be filing next week. She said by the end of next week, the latest. The government's intervention means that AG Barr, let's say he doesn't do anything. I'm going to say this, folks. There's a strong possibility that Joe Biden would be president if we didn't have this criminal investigation. But we have a good, strong... Now, I'm not trying to get us down here. We have the criminal investigation. Shoot, Dominion's not even showing up to say, oh, our machines are good. Everyone's hiding. The guy that's has the patent on some of the components in the machines is Antifa. Coomer, right? We presented that this morning. If you missed this morning's show, you want to go back and catch that. That'd be a good... As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to post that up on the front side of our channel for tomorrow. We're not going to be broadcasting, but that's an epic episode this morning and what we presented with Coomer. Yeah. All right, you guys. I'm going to play this video right here, which is Joe DeGeneva. He was, if you don't know who Joe DeGeneva is, we're talking about, by the way, when you got Sidney Powell, former prosecutor, Jenna Ellis, former prosecutor, Rudy Giuliani, the top prosecutor in the country, period. I mean, he's literally bronze statue. Of all time. Brought down the mafia, right? Yep. And Joe DeGeneva is the second top prosecutor. This is the Joe DeGeneva that I'm talking about right here, and he was on Newsmax.
Yeah, he was standing up there yesterday.
He was.
With Rudy Giuliani.
He was.
And Sidney Powell.
Yes. Okay.
He and his wife.
Here he is.
Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tunsing, part of the Trump legal team. Joe was at the press conference today with Rudy Giuliani. A lot of allegations here. Fox says y'all are a bunch of liars now, Joe.
Well, Kristen Fisher and the rest of the Fox team are fools and liars. The news conference today provided ample evidence. Now, what is evidence? Evidence is people saying something that they saw. Today, Rudy went through a series of affidavits, sworn statements about what people saw by way of corruption of the voting and counting process in Michigan and in other states, Pennsylvania. So the notion that Kristen Fisher can get up and say that there was no evidence presented, she's a disgrace to journalism, or what's left of it. And as for John Roberts, I think John stayed too long at the fair.
Yeah.
Well, I was at the press
Probably right.
conference also. I was there also, Grant, and it's just Rudy laid out and quoted from a woman's affidavit in Detroit, where she said she was trained to backdate documents that were received late, and she was told not to recognize any defects in any of the ballots. That's pretty hard evidence.
If you can't recognize defects or actively try not to recognize them, this is why we've seen so fewer ballots were thrown out of this election than they were in 2016. The question now becomes, how do you prove it besides the sworn statements? Is that enough to get a judge to throw these out? Do you throw out all the ballots? Do you throw out the whole election, guys? What do you do here?
Well, here's the thing. What you just said is very important, Grant. Statistical analysis. We have statisticians and mathematicians.
I got to intervene here because Tommy Toots. Let me just pause for a second, all right? Because this goes right along with the conversation we're having. Tommy Toots just sent me a great breakdown of the stuff that I'm digging, further and further into this. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning. I didn't get up at 3 o'clock. Ms. Gidget woke me up at 3 o'clock. But I got right to work, and that's where I started digging into Coomer and who Coomer was. Deep research. But listen to this. A breakdown. Finding all prominent electronic voting systems in the U.S. Smartmatic, Sequoia, Diebold, ES&S, Dominion, and Hart Intercivic are networked to the same software engine and controlled by the same financiers tied to George Soros and the Queen's Privy Council, thus making corrupt practices in the U.S. elections a foregone conclusion. This is a fact. I'm looking at this. Lord Mark Malloch Brown and Sir Geoffrey Patty brag about their ability to bend elections, protected by the Queen. Let me move to the side here, okay? Look at this. Chief electronic voting scammers: Mueller, Comey, Holder, Clinton, Obama, Romney, Bush, Soros, Malloch Brown, and a new name just added to my list is Patty. Okay? Patty. Look at this. Smartmatic, as it's broken down. Founded in Venezuela, 28% Cesar Chavez owned offices in London, UK, Caracas, Venezuela, Boca Raton, Florida, and Sunnyvale, California. They purchased Sequoia and then acquired Optech. Who's Optech? Look at the thread here with Optech. Optech and Smartmatic, Optech and Sequoia, Optech and Diebold, ES&S, Dominion, and Optech in Hart Intercivic. Guess who has been financing each and every one of them? Mitt Romney and Bain Capital. Bain Capital doing bundling and financing. That is the thread. Optech. Listen to this. Mitt Romney, Bain Capital. Booz Allen. What is Booz Allen, folks? What's Booz Allen? Hamilton
yeah.
is a CIA storefront that Edward Snowden used to work at.
Yep.
Okay? Booz Allen Hamilton. He's done these bundling deals. This is Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's straight up CIA. I know he is. Go look it up yourself. By the way, here's my rule. Don't trust anybody, including me. Listen to and read everything you can get your hands on, and only believe that which you've researched yourself. I will provide this document right here so that you can go do your own research yourself if you choose to do so. Smartmatic, okay? Look at Sequoia. They purchased Sequoia and then acquired Optech. Sequoia, right? Sequoia voting machines formed from Diamond Automatic Voting Machine Corp. Optech licensed from Smartmatic, okay? And then Diebold, ES&S, and Dominion, Clop Printing, Urosevich Brothers created Optech, allied with Westinghouse Corporation, to sell data mark systems. Optech. That is the thread across all the voting machines. We're gonna find this stuff. We're gonna dig into it. Let me play just a little bit more here, and then we're gonna begin that thread, and then go to our next guest, who will actually break down a update out of Michigan. All right. So let's go back to Geneva and Tencent.
Going over the returns that are now in and are available. What they are doing is they are going to show that the anomalies are so out of bounds that the results are not believable. And so therefore, that is evidence in and of itself. That statistical analysis, expert by expert witnesses, is admissible in court to prove that there was fraud. Now, the people...
By the way, Dr. Shiva, does everyone know who Dr. Shiva is? Mm-hmm. Do you know who Dr. Shiva is?
Yes.
Who is he? What's his claim to fame? And I'm not trying to give you a gotcha question.
Well, I
You
mean,
just need to know this. Everyone should know this.
right, he's done all kinds of things. So at first he was talking about COVID-19 and all that
Stand
stuff.
by. You ready?
Oh,
He invented email.
oh, did he? Oh, okay.
He's the inventor of email.
Okay, I got you.
That's who that guy is. This guy is a scientist. He's a very brilliant person. And when he comes in with statistical analysis, okay, people better listen. He's
Right.
highly qualified when he says that the probability of Joe Biden being president is like 1 in 17 bazillion.
So,
okay?
so he's the guy who's responsible for You've Got Mail
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. He designed email.
for America Online. That was the first email, wasn't it?
No,
It wasn't the first functional email?
it was not. No, that was the first consumer product, but on the business-to-business side through MS-DOS.
Oh, okay.
They set up
Yep.
a separate code so that you could send emails back and forth on. Remember the green monochrome screens?
Right.
You could click another button. You had a separate portal with email signatures and date and time and stuff like that.
Gosh,
It ran
he's
in
very
parallel.
rich.
Huh?
He must be very rich.
Possibly.
Well, he
yeah.
would have to
He's
be.
very well to do. Yes, he is.
People at that news
He's
conference
financially
today, the
independent. Let's
journalists,
put it that way.
Yeah.
and Kristen Fisher at Fox are not smart enough to understand that. I'm delighted they're journalists because they would never be on one of our juries.
No,
But
they-
there's an extra fact that we need to hammer home, and that is that on top of all of this, the training not to see defects and so forth, not one Republican could observe the voting process.
Counting.
200, the vote counting process. Sorry, that's the big deal, and that happened all over the country, and that's what Rudy's talking
That's
about.
at the core of the conspiracy.
No Republicans were
And you
allowed
know,
to
for
watch.
all of this, that's at the heart of this. For years and years, as long as I can remember, I'm 51 years old, you've had monitors watching people count the ballots, and it didn't happen. Why? And it seems to me awful fishy.
Let me tell you why, okay? And we're going to go to this right here. I have to move along very quickly, so just please pardon me. Again, DC leaks.